Hi there, Tim Bauer here from LiveVideoGuitarLessons.com with the practice tip of the day. This one is for the intermediate player. Today I want to finish our discussion on chord inversions. We covered the major chords in a video, the last video. That's over on the website, www.livevideoguitarlessons.com. And today I want to talk about the minor chords. This is going to be a short video because you don't have a lot of choices with minor chords. So most of your minor chords you're going to end up playing as bar chords. So I'm just going to work with B minor for a second. And as you recall, when you're inverting a chord, all you're doing is taking one of the other two notes that are one of the other notes that belong in the chord and putting them on the bottom instead of the root. So we have two notes that we're working with. Like for a B minor chord, our third is a D. So I can put the D on the bottom, and that gives me a chord inversion with the third on the bottom instead of the B, which we normally have. But most of these you're going to end up putting the fifth on the bottom. It's just, I'll explain why in a second. So if I take my B minor chord, the fifth is an F sharp note. So all you have to do from your bar chord, all you have to do is just extend your finger over one more string. So you bar across 6. It's really, really easy to do, and it thickens up your chord. Listen for this note. It's kind of subtle, but listen for that note in there. So here's without it. Here's with it. Without. With it. Just kind of fattens it up. So you can take that and kind of work that into your chord progression. I sneaked in an inverted A chord in there just because we're talking about inversions. So anyway, all the way up the neck, that's generally the way you're going to want to do it. Just bar across 6 strings. If you want to put the third on the bottom instead, you end up. I'm gonna go back to A minor for a second. A minor, the way you would invert an A minor chord, if you don't do it way up here and put that extra note on the bottom, or you could just play all 6 down here, but that's not my favorite way to do it because the E makes it sound like I'm making a mistake and hitting too many strings. It's too low to my ear. But anyway, so you can invert it by putting the third on the bottom. The third is going to be my C note. And if you notice, this is A minor C bass, but it's also C6. So you have to kind of be careful in the application because sometimes when you use that, it'll feel like a C6 rather than an A minor C bass. All the more reason to, you should let your ear be the judge. Use the one that you like the best. But usually people are using the fifth on the bottom of these chords if they're going to invert them at all. Alright, so it's the same thing as you walk up the neck. So here's A minor C bass. If I move it up one, now it's A sharp minor C sharp bass. And it's the same thing. You kind of picture your B minor chord over here. So that's with my D bass on it. Just make sure you don't hit any open strings. And it's the same thing all the way up the neck. Okay, you only have two minor chords that generally aren't played as bars, or they could be played as bars, but it's used as often as open. So we have our A minor, so you invert it that way. I could invert it by putting the E on the bottom, so just don't play the A string here. And to my ear, that does have the E on the bottom, that's the fifth, but to my ear that sounds a whole lot better than just hitting all 6. This low E note, I don't know, it makes me sound like I'm just playing something wrong. Alright, and we have our D minor chord. That's often played as an open position chord. And we could just invert it here. Alright, so we could take, let's see, we would need an A on here. That would be our fifth. So all we would do, instead of strumming 4 like we normally do, we strum 5. And hopefully you can hear that thickening up a little bit. There's regular, inverted, regular, inverted. Okay, and we could also, our other note in there is an F note. So we could kind of change our fingering around here, catch my F note over here, and get back over here. So you get this. And just kind of working in the progression. progressions that way. Usually, people don't mess around with the minor chords that much. It's primarily done with the majors, but you know, be adventurous and you know, just kind of mess around with them a little bit and you know, come up with you know, sounds that you like. Anyway, so hopefully that helps. Thanks for tuning in for this practice tip. Tune in again tomorrow for another one, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.